You don't have to let these mood changes define you or control your relationships. The first step is awareness. When Elena began to notice her shorter temper, she realized it wasn't that she had become an angry person. It was that her patience was being tested by fatigue, discomfort, and change. Aging brings many silent pressures, and sometimes irritability is simply the body and mind asking for understanding. One helpful strategy is to pause before reacting. Taking a slow, deep breath when you feel frustration rising can give you a moment to reset. Elena found that stepping away for even a few minutes, making a cup of tea, sitting quietly, or taking a short walk helped her regain perspective. Physical activity, even gentle movement, can also release tension and improve mood by boosting endorphins. It's equally important to look at what might be fueling these emotions. Lack of sleep, chronic pain, hunger, or feeling overwhelmed can all shorten your fuse. Addressing those root causes can make a noticeable difference. Elena also discovered that talking openly with loved ones helped. Letting them know she was feeling more sensitive allowed for more patience and understanding on both sides. Practicing gratitude is another powerful tool. Taking a moment each day to focus on what's going well. A kind phone call, a pleasant meal, a sunny afternoon can gradually shift your mindset. And if mood changes start to feel persistent or overwhelming, speaking with a healthcare professional or counselor can provide support and guidance. Emotional health matters just as much as physical health. Loss of confidence is another challenge Elena didn't expect. As tasks became harder and her body changed, she sometimes questioned herself. Things she once did effortlessly now required more thought, more energy, or even help from others. This gradual erosion of confidence can be deeply unsettling. But confidence doesn't disappear, it evolves. It grows when you acknowledge what you can still do, rather than focusing only on what's changed. Elena began celebrating small victories, completing a walk, learning to use a new app, or asking for help without feeling ashamed. Aging doesn't mean losing independence. It means redefining it. Accepting support when needed is a form of strength, not weakness. Then there's the emotional weight of change itself. Watching your body, routines, and social world shift can bring moments of grief. Elena sometimes missed her younger self, her old energy, and the ease of earlier years. These feelings are natural. Allowing yourself to acknowledge them, rather than pushing them away, is part of healthy aging. At the same time, it's important to make space for new joys, new rhythms, and new meanings. Purpose plays a huge role here. Elena found renewed fulfillment by volunteering a few hours a week, sharing her life experience with others, and staying curious about the world. Purpose doesn't have to be big or dramatic. It can be as simple as caring for a garden, mentoring a grandchild, or learning something new. Aging may bring challenges no one warned you about, but it also brings wisdom, resilience, and depth. Elena's journey is a reminder that while growing older can feel unpredictable, it doesn't have to be discouraging. With the right tools, mindset, and support, these changes can be navigated with grace. If you see yourself in Elena's story, know this: you are not failing, you are adapting. And adaptation is one of the greatest strengths we carry with us as we age. And as Elena continues to move through this stage of life, she begins to understand something important. Aging isn't a single challenge, it's a collection of quiet adjustments that happen little by little. Another reality she didn't expect was how her sense of independence would change. Asking for help used to feel unnecessary, even uncomfortable. Now, whether it's carrying heavy groceries, fixing something around the house, or navigating new technology, she sometimes needs support. At first, this felt like a loss, but over time, Elena realized that accepting help isn't giving up control. It's choosing connection. Letting others assist her actually strengthened her relationships and reminded her that no one is meant to go through life alone. Then there's the financial side of aging, something many people rarely talk about openly. Elena noticed she had become more cautious with money. Medical costs, fixed income, and rising prices made her think twice before spending. This constant mental calculation could be stressful. What helped was planning. Creating a simple budget, reviewing expenses, and seeking financial advice gave her peace of mind. Knowing where she stood financially reduced anxiety and helped her feel more secure about the future. Another unexpected change was how her priorities shifted. Things that once seemed urgent or important no longer held the same weight. Elena found herself caring less about impressing others and more about feeling at peace. Loud environments, rushed schedules, and unnecessary drama drained her energy. She started choosing calm over chaos, depth over noise. This shift wasn't a loss, it was clarity. Aging gave her permission to live more intentionally. She also noticed how her emotions became more layered. Joy felt deeper, but sadness could feel heavier too. Memories surfaced more often, some beautiful, some painful. Instead of pushing them away, Elena learned to sit with them. She started journaling, writing down thoughts and memories, which helped her process emotions and gain perspective. Reflecting on her life allowed her to see how much she had survived, learned, and grown. One of the most profound realizations Elena had was about time. She became more aware of how precious it is. Procrastination no longer made sense. If she wanted to call someone, she did. If she wanted to try something new, she didn't wait for the right moment. Aging taught her that later isn't always guaranteed, but now is. This awareness didn't make her fearful, it made her present. Elena also learned the importance of self-compassion. On days when her body felt slow or her mind felt foggy, she stopped criticizing herself. She spoke to herself the way she would to a close friend, with patience, kindness, and understanding. This simple shift changed everything. Aging became less of a battle and more of a partnership with her body and mind. Through all these changes, Elena discovered a quiet strength she didn't know she had. Not the strength of youth or speed, but the strength of resilience, acceptance, and wisdom. She realized that aging isn't about becoming less, it's about becoming more of who you truly are. If there's one message Elena's journey leaves behind, it's this. Growing older comes with challenges, yes, but it also comes with freedom, clarity, and depth that can't be found anywhere else. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are evolving. And as you continue your own journey, remember, you don't have to have everything figured out. Take it one day at a time. Be gentle with yourself. Stay curious, stay connected. And above all, honor the life you've lived and the one you're still living. And even after all these realizations, Elena's journey doesn't suddenly become easy. There are still mornings when she wakes up and feels a quiet heaviness she can't quite explain. Some days her body cooperates. Other days it doesn't. And that unpredictability can be one of the hardest parts of aging. Not knowing which version of yourself you'll meet when you open your eyes. But over time, Elena learns to stop fighting those days. Instead of pushing herself the way she once did, she begins to adapt. She plans less, but lives more fully in what she does choose to do. She starts to notice how important routine has become. Simple rituals, morning sunlight through the window, a warm drink, a few minutes of silence, ground her in ways she never needed before. These small anchors give her a sense of stability when the rest of life feels uncertain. Aging, she realizes, isn't about doing more. It's about doing what matters. Another quiet challenge appears in the form of feeling overlooked. In stores, in conversations, sometimes even within her own family, Elena senses that people don't always see her the way they used to. Society has a way of becoming louder for the young and quieter for the old. At first, this hurts deeply. But then something unexpected happens. She stops seeking validation from the outside. She becomes more selective with her energy, her words, her presence. And in that selectiveness, she finds power. She also notices how her patience with superficial things fades. Small talk feels tiring. Meaningless obligations feel heavy. What she craves now are real conversations, genuine laughter, and moments that feel honest. She wants depth in friendships, in stories, in life itself. And while her circle becomes smaller, it becomes richer. Elena begins to understand that aging strips away illusions. The illusion of control, the illusion of endless time, the illusion that strength only looks one way. What remains is truth, and truth, while sometimes uncomfortable, is freeing. She no longer measures her worth by productivity or speed. She measures it by presence, by kindness, by the ability to endure and still care. There are moments when fear creeps in, fear of illness, fear of dependency, fear of being forgotten. She doesn't pretend these fears don't exist. Instead, she meets them with honesty. She plans where she can, lets go where she must, and reminds herself that fear doesn't mean weakness. It means awareness. What surprises her most is how gratitude begins to outweigh regret. Yes, there are things she wishes she had done differently. Words she wishes she had said. Chances she wishes she had taken. But there is also a deep appreciation for the life she did live. The love she gave, the storm she survived, the lessons that shaped her. Aging gives her a longer view, and from that view, she can finally see how far she's come. And perhaps the greatest lesson Elena learns is this: aging is not a closing chapter. It is a quieter one, maybe slower, but no less meaningful. It is a chapter where wisdom speaks softly, where strength shows up as endurance, and where beauty exists in subtle, unexpected ways. So if you find yourself walking this path, feeling the weight of change, the ache of loss, or the uncertainty of what lies ahead, remember Elena. Remember that you are not fading, you are transforming. Every year adds layers, not limits. Every challenge carries insight. And every day you are here is proof of resilience. Aging doesn't take your value away, it reveals it. And as time moves forward, Elena begins to notice something else. A quiet confidence settling in. Not the loud confidence of proving herself, but the steady kind that comes from knowing who she is. She no longer feels the need to explain her choices or justify her pace. If she needs rest, she rests. If she needs solitude, she takes it without guilt. Aging has taught her that listening to herself is not selfish, it's essential. She also becomes more protective of her emotional space. Negative news, draining conversations, constant worry. She learns to step back from them. Not because she doesn't care, but because she finally understands that peace is a resource, and it must be preserved. She chooses kindness, but she also chooses boundaries. This balance gives her a sense of calm she never had when she was younger and constantly giving herself away. Elena starts noticing beauty in places she once overlooked. The way light shifts across the room in the afternoon, the sound of birds in the early morning, the comfort of familiar objects, worn but meaningful. Aging slows her just enough to notice life instead of rushing past it. What once felt ordinary now feels precious. There are moments of reflection too, quiet evenings when memories surface uninvited. Faces, voices, seasons of life long gone. Some memories bring smiles, others bring tears. Elena allows both. She understands now that remembering is not a weakness. It's proof that her life mattered, that she loved deeply, that she lived fully. Every memory, even the painful ones, becomes part of her inner strength. She also learns to forgive herself most of all. For not knowing then what she knows now. for mistakes made in survival mode, for choices shaped by fear or limitation. Aging softens her judgment and replaces it with understanding. She sees her younger self not as foolish, but as brave, doing the best she could with what she had. As her world grows quieter, her inner world grows richer. She thinks more deeply, feels more honestly, and speaks more deliberately. Her words carry weight now, not because she speaks often, but because when she does, she speaks from experience. People may not always listen, but when they do, they hear wisdom earned the hard way. Elena also realizes that legacy isn't about being remembered by many. It's about being remembered well. It's in the small things. The way she made people feel safe. The way she listened without interrupting. The way she showed up when it mattered. These are the things that outlast youth, success, and appearances. And so, aging stops feeling like something happening to her, and starts feeling like something happening within her. A deepening, a refining, a coming home to herself. If you're standing where Elena stands now, feeling the weight of years, the changes you didn't ask for, the questions no one prepared you for, know this: your life is not shrinking. It's concentrating. What's left is what truly matters. You are allowed to move slower. You are allowed to change. You are allowed to rest. You are allowed to choose peace. Growing older doesn't mean you're running out of time. It means you finally understand its value. And with that understanding, Elena steps into each day a little differently. She no longer wakes up asking what she has to do, but what feels worth doing. Some days that means being productive. Other days it means simply being present. She learns that a meaningful day doesn't have to be full. It just has to be honest. She becomes gentler with her expectations. Aging has taught her that life doesn't move in straight lines, and neither does healing, growth, or happiness. There are setbacks. There are days when old fears return, or when her body reminds her of its limits. But instead of seeing these moments as failures, she sees them as reminders to slow down, to adjust, to care for herself with patience rather than pressure. Elena also starts speaking her truth more openly. Not harshly, not defensively, just clearly. She no longer carries the burden of keeping everyone comfortable at the expense of her own well-being. If something feels wrong, she says so. If something brings her joy, she protects it. This honesty brings a sense of freedom she never expected to find later in life. She notices, too, how younger people sometimes come to her, not always for advice, but for reassurance. They sense something steady in her presence. Elena doesn't tell them how to live. She listens. She shares stories when invited. She reminds them, gently, that life doesn't end at a certain age. It changes, and change doesn't have to mean loss. There are moments of quiet pride, not in achievements but in endurance. In the fact that she kept going through heartbreak, uncertainty, disappointment, and fear. That she adapted when life demanded it. That she learned again and again how to begin differently. As time passes, Elena realizes that aging has given her something rare. Perspective without urgency. She no longer feels the pressure to become someone else. She has arrived. And from that place, she can finally appreciate who she has been all along. She understands now that strength isn't about how much you can carry. It's about knowing when to put things down. Wisdom isn't about having all the answers. It's about asking better questions. And peace isn't about a perfect life. It's about accepting an imperfect one with grace. So the journey continues. Not loudly, not dramatically, but steadily, meaningfully, one day at a time. And if you're listening to this and wondering what your own later chapters will hold, remember this. The story doesn't end when the pace slows. Sometimes, that's when the message becomes clear. You are still becoming. You are still needed. You are still enough. And the years ahead, however many they may be, still hold room for purpose, connection, and quiet joy. And in that quiet joy, Alina finds something she never expected: peace with uncertainty. She no longer needs guarantees to feel secure. The future doesn't have to be clearly mapped for her to feel grounded. Aging has taught her that life has always been uncertain. She was just too busy before to notice. Now, she meets each unknown with a calmer heart, trusting herself to adapt when the time comes, just as she always has. She becomes more intentional with love. She says it more often. She withholds it less. She no longer assumes there will always be another chance to express what matters. A message sent. A hand held a little longer. A conversation that doesn't get postponed. Aging sharpens her awareness that connection is not something to delay. Alina also learns to sit comfortably with silence. Where silence once felt empty, now it feels full of reflection, of breathing space, of understanding. She doesn't rush to fill every moment with noise or distraction. She allows stillness to exist, and in that stillness, she hears herself more clearly than ever before. There are days when grief visits her unexpectedly, not always tied to a specific loss, but to the accumulation of them. People gone, versions of herself left behind, dreams that change shape along the way. She doesn't push the grief away. She lets it pass through her, knowing it is the price of having cared deeply. And somehow, that makes the grief softer, easier to carry. What surprises her most is how alive she still feels inside. Her body may move slower, her energy may fluctuate, but her inner world remains vibrant, curious, awake. Aging didn't dim her, it refined her. It stripped away what was unnecessary and revealed what was real. She starts to understand that every stage of life asks something different of us. Youth asks for courage. Midlife asks for endurance. And later life asks for wisdom. The wisdom to let go, to simplify, to cherish. Alina accepts this role with humility and quiet pride. And so she keeps going, not chasing time, not fearing it, just walking alongside it. If you're listening to this and feeling the weight of years, let this be a reminder: you are not late. You are not behind. You are exactly where your life has brought you. Shaped by experience, strengthened by survival, softened by understanding. Aging is not an ending, it is a deepening, a narrowing of focus, a widening of meaning. And even now, especially now, your story is still unfolding.